Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, I'm going to look at 4 extension candidates after Nico Collins got the bag. He got his money, an extension that happened yesterday. I'm going to be breaking down the 4 guys who we need to be on the lookout, maybe getting paid on the horizon. I'll tell you who that is in just a moment, but I kind of broke it down on my show yesterday, but I saw this tweet from Greg Rosenthal, and I thought it perfectly explained how I feel about this Nico Collins extension. He said, "I never blame a young player for taking his first huge guaranteed payday, but this is essentially a 4-year, $75 million deal for a top 25 receiver entering his prime. It's going to age incredibly well because Collins is that good," and I completely agree. This is why I said getting an extension done before the season was the best thing for the Texans, because I know it says right now on the board, it says he's the 7th highest paid receiver per year. But that's once his contract kicks in. We have to also think he has 1 year left on his rookie deal. So essentially, it's a 4-year, $75 million deal. And if we counted in that last year of his rookie deal, in reality, he'd be getting paid $18.75 million a year, which even looks that much better. So that begs the question, did Nico Collins really help out the Texans? Did he give Nick Caserio a discount? What do you think? Do you think that this was a discount deal for the Texans? Give me a yes, give me a no down in the comment section. I'm interested in what you have to say. I would say 100% yes, that this is a discount deal for for the Texans in getting this for Nico Collins, because if he pans out, it's going to be an absolute steal. You have one of the best receivers at a young age who has a great chemistry with CJ Stroud, and he's going to be getting paid what? $18.75 million a year? I mean, sign me up for that. If you told me that I could have one of the best receivers at a not top 10 paid receiver, I do it every single day, twice on Sundays. Nico got the bag, but I think the Texans, Nick Caserio, they did a fantastic job with this contract and leaving the Texans with a little bit of flexibility down the road to maybe sign a guy like Derek Stingley Jr., who comes up first on our extension candidates after Nico Collins. Look, Derek Stingley, first season, plagued with injuries. Last season, had some injuries, but still absolutely balled out. 39 tackles, 5 interceptions, 13 pass breakups from the former LSU Tiger. And I mean, we look at his advanced analytics too. He dominated last season. In 11 games played in the regular season, allowed a completion percentage of 47.9, 288 yards allowed, 2 touchdowns, 13 pass breakups to those 5 interceptions, and a quarterback rating when targeted of 41.3. And his PFF grades absolutely showed as well. An overall grade of 81.8. Run defense grade, yeah, maybe he wasn't the best run defender last year of 59.5, but a coverage grade of 84.9 and only 1 penalty on the season. I'm telling you, after this season, whenever he's eligible for an extension, he is going to look to get paid big time. And as we look at the top 10 paid cornerbacks per year, I mean, Jair Alexander sitting there at number 1 at $21.0 million. I think that Stingley's going to be vying for one of those top spots, one of the top paid corners in the league if he replicates last year into this year. He's going to be looking at that $20 million a year mark that Denzel Ward got, a little bit more than Marshawn Lattimore. Maybe he even, pushes to be the highest paid cornerback in the entire National Football League. What do you think, though? I would give Stingley blank $1 million per year. I'm going to need you to fill in the blank. Drop a number down in the comment section. Let me know, how much would you pay Stingley per year? I showed you who the top 10 guys are and how much they're getting paid. Is it 19? Is it 20, 21? Would you make him the highest at $22 million a year? Let me know down in the comment section how much you would give Stingley per year. Next up, Christian Harris, the linebacker, and we all know he came on strong last year for the Houston Texans, and a big reason why I believe they didn't re-sign Blake Cashman this offseason. I mean, Christian Harris, from the beginning to the end of last year, I can't tell you how much this kid improved. I know, he started out kind of getting some rotation starts, being in, being out, kind of being in the mix with Blake Cashman, Denzel Perryman. Towards the end of the year, I think he was the best linebacker on the Texans roster. Now, he still has some room to grow, a little bit to get better, but what better coach than DeMeco Ryans, a former Pro Bowler at the linebacker position? Last year, his coverage stats allowed a 74.5% completion percentage, 365 yards, a touchdown, 7 pass breakups, no interceptions, because this is only the regular season statistics for Christian Harris, and a quarterback rating when targeted of 97.9. But he is a great sideline-to-sideline tackler. If he can be a better guy in coverage and really, man the middle of this defense for the Houston Texans, he is going to get paid next offseason as well. And as we look at the highest paid inside linebackers, it might be the one position where it might be pretty easy to get a deal done. We look, Azeez Al-Shire, who was not a, high-profile signing around the league, he's the 5th highest paid linebacker in the NFL. So at $11.33 million, if he's the 5th highest paid, I think getting Christian Harris a deal done around that $10 million a year mark shouldn't be too hard, because yes, you paid Azeez Al-Shire this offseason, but veteran player has already kind of proven himself throughout the year. I just wonder who's going to be the top linebacker on this team this year. Is it going to be DeMeco's old buddy in Azeez Al-Shire, or is it going to be the newcomer in Christian Harris? Who do you think is going to have a bigger impact in 2024? Let me know down in the comments section. I am kind of leaning towards Christian Harris. I mean, young kid, raw talent, but being coached up by a guy like DeMeco Ryans, there has to be something said when you get the wisdom imparted on you from a former NFL legend at that position in DeMeco Ryans. He was a great linebacker for his years in the league, and what he's going to, teach Christian Harris, teach these linebackers, is really going to help them develop going into the season next year and moving forward. Now, coming up, I have 2 more extension candidates for you after Nico Collins got paid, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. The finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on selected basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. Now, the Western Conference Finals still going on. The Mavs couldn't close it out in Game 4. So, this is my Prize Picks. I had my buddy Rolly help me out, producer Rolly, who's more of our basketball guy. He kind of set me up with these picks, and he said, Jeremy, if you want to make some money, follow me. I have the yellow brick road. I have the golden ticket for you. And this is what he said to put in. So if it doesn't work, don't blame me. Blame producer Rolly. He said more than 3.5 threes for Luka Doncic, less than 19.5 points for Karl Anthony Towns, and Daniel Gafford more than 15.5 rebounds and points. You can use these picks. You can fade these picks. Just do it over at Prize Picks. And when the finals are over and hoop action doesn't stop on Prize Picks, though, because women's basketball is just getting started with young stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make their names for themselves alongside greats like Breanna Stewart, Asia Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Once again, that's code CLNS when you download the Prize Picks app and you redeem the code. You can use it today. #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Now, this one might come to a surprise to some of you folks at home, but for the 3rd extension candidate, I'm going with Stefon Diggs. And I know they traded for him and then retroactively, cut off the last 2 years of his contract. So the Texans really only have Diggs for this year. But if things work out, if Diggs really likes his spot here in Houston, could he possibly stay with the Texans? I mean, last year, it's fine, we'll just go with this. Last year, he had 107 receptions, over 1,100 yards, an average yards per catch of 11.1 and 8 touchdowns. Yes, that is down from his stats in 2022 and 2021, but still, Stefon Diggs can ball. The real question is going to be with how much does he want to get paid, because he's an older receiver on the wrong side of 30 getting there. So will he want a top 10 paid contract like his buddy Nico Collins? Will he want a similar contract to Nico Collins? I could only see it being a 1 to 2 year deal for Stefon Diggs if he re-signs with the Houston Texans. I don't think they're really planning on, signing him farther out than maybe 1-2 years, especially because they had control of him. They had a contract for 2 more years, and they kind of cut that off and said, we only want you for 1 year for right now. But I could see it, possibly working out where the two sides come to an agreement and get an extension done later on this year or maybe before free agency hits next offseason. Now, I knew a lot of people were going to say these 3 names right here, but they were rookies last year. Their extensions won't be until down the road. So CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Tank Dell, these 3 guys, yes, they deserve extensions as well. Yes, they're going to get paid when the time comes as long as they keep on balling out and stay healthy. But those extensions won't come for just a little bit because you can't get extended on your rookie deal until you play 3 seasons in the NFL. All these guys, they've only played 1. So not eligible for an extension yet, but definitely down the road, look for these guys to get paid. And that leads me to my last extension candidate, Jalen Pitre. Yes, Jalen Pitre, the safety. And I know what all y'all are saying, but Jeremy, Jalen Pitre sucked last year. And yes, Pitre had a down sophomore year, a little sophomore slump. He was benched at one point in week, I believe, 15 or 16 against the Cleveland Browns, and he was not as good as he was his rookie year. We look at his stats comparison from 2022 to 2023. Obviously, better across the board his rookie season, and we also have to remember the team was actually worse as well. So getting all those tackles, getting the stats that he did, was it, a little bit of a product of his environment of being on a worse team and getting more tackles because the running backs or wide receivers were so often back in the secondary? That could be, attributed to it. But really what worries me is his, on the back end, being able to defend the pass. The QB rating, the lack of interceptions and pass breakups is what I really need to see from Pitre in 2024 if he wants to get paid. And that begs the question to all of you folks at home. Will Jalen Pitre bounce back this season? I had a lot of promise for him. I was wrong. I said before last season that I thought there was a possibility that Pitre and Jimmy Ward could be a top 10 safety duo in the NFL. Tomato, tomato, tomato. I was completely wrong about that, but I'm not quite done with Jalen Pitre. I still think he has a lot of talent, a lot of skill. He showed it in the preseason last year, and there was flashes. He just needs that consistency, needs to play better. And if he does, maybe not this next offseason, but the offseason after that, I could see Pitre getting a contract extension. As always, follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs for the latest Texans news and rumors, the dankest memes on the internet. And if you want to join the largest Texans community on YouTube, the most interactive Texans community on YouTube, there's one place and one place only to do that. That's here at Texans Today. We're the fastest growing channel by a, Texans fan, not one of those, big accounts from the Houston Texans. I'm a Texans fan here for Texans fans. So if you love that, if you want daily news and rumors content around your team, go down and hit that sub button.